I'm Vesh Arumugam. Welcome to Western Perspective. Imagine working sleepless and tireless day and night so others could have a good night's sleep. When your eyes are opened in vigilance, the world shuts its peacefully. Unfathomable, isn't it? This is what it means to be a soldier. Commemorating the persevering effort and dedication to the country is what ANZAC Day means for us. Chief Executive Officer of RSLWA, John McCord, says it's time Australia turns around to acknowledge the sacrifices of its war veterans. Now, we all know what ANZAC Day means to all Australians. But in your opinion, what does ANZAC Day mean to you?
Personally, it means pausing for one day in the year to remember the sacrifices made by those who served in wars and those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in wars. It also demonstrates to me a unification of Australia, no matter what race you are, where you come from, what your culture is, what your religion is. It's all about coming together to recognise that war is always a bad thing, but sometimes you need to stand up and defend yourself.
Now, for young Australians, why do we have to care about ANZAC Day, and how can we take it on board in terms of understanding what it means to us?
Very important question, and lots of younger school children are educated in what ANZAC Day means. It doesn't mean that you glorify war, because young people do know that people get killed. And if anyone had a vote whether you go to war or not, it probably wouldn't. But sometimes bad people do bad things. I think that you put it in context. What ANZAC did for Australia is bring us together as a nation and a commonality of mateship and courage and humility. So I think the understanding of ANZAC Day is about our history as opposed to just wartime.
We have been having a bit of a kerfuffle amongst these ideas of do we have to change the date of ANZAC Day and all that stuff.
Right.
Where do you stand in terms of that?
Well, unlike Australia Day, where there is a big debate on changing the date, I don't think there's any or very small debate with regard to ANZAC Day. ANZAC Day has always, since it commenced a century ago, was commemorated on the 25th of April, and it always will. As far as I'm concerned, at least.
That's right. And then recently there was a bit of a debate as well where the Turkey Prime Minister came on board and gave some appalling comments, and then as Prime Minister Scott Morrison said that this is going to affect the ANZAC Day commemoration because Turkey has been really in close with us in terms of celebrating this. And why do you think it's even bothering us? And because he just said something, and how is it going to affect ANZAC Day as a whole?
A particular academic a couple of weeks ago said some very offensive things to veterans about their role in wars and ANZAC Day and what it means or what it might mean in the future. I did remind this academic, and I did say in the media then, that their very ability to make sometimes controversial comments and not to get vilified for or get stones thrown at them is because we live in a free society. And we have a free society and a democratic society because we're prepared to defend ourselves when necessary, and we're prepared to have a strong defence because sometimes bad people who have bad intent don't bother thinking about whether a nation is strong or not, and they impose their will. So the ability for people to actually say in safety controversial things means we're a free society, and we're a free society because a lot of the efforts of men and women over the past century in terms of defending our country.
And one final question, John, how do you want Australians to celebrate this year's ANZAC Day?
Well, first we want them to commemorate it in terms of the dawn service and the 60,000 Australians who were killed in World War I, many who were killed in World War II, and those who came back but suffer the consequences of war. And then celebrate our younger veterans. These are veterans barely in their 20s, 30s and 40s and 50s who are still serving, and they deserve our support and our thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate it.
Until then, Ivan Denny, back to you.
Thank you, Vaish. This week's main news again. One Nation has unveiled a secret weapon up their sleeve in their focus to attract young voters. Tyler Walsh became one of the youngest One Nation candidates for the Moore electorate, hopes to make his voice heard and make a change in politics. Mr. Walsh will be running against incumbent Liberal Party candidate Ian Goodenough.
And that's our weekly news and current affairs. You can catch up with all the latest news on our website and Facebook page.
From Daniel, myself and the rest of the team until 8 o'clock next Sunday. A very good evening to you.
Good night.